Welcome back to the Movie Buffer, and tonight we're going to be discussing The Exorcist. The Exorcist is a 1973 American supernatural horror film directed by William Friedkin and written for the screen by William Peter Blatty, based on his 1971 novel of the same name. It stars Ellen Burstyn, Max von Sydow, Lee J. Cobb, Kitty Winn, Jack MacGowran in his final film role, Jason Miller, and introducing Linda Blair. It follows the demonic possession of a young girl and her mother's attempt to rescue her through an exorcism conducted by a pair of Catholic priests. The book was a bestseller, but Blatty, who also produced, and Friedkin, his choice for the director, had difficulty casting the film. Unable to hire major stars of the era, they cast relatively unknowns in Burstyn, Blair, and Miller. Principal photography was also difficult. A fire destroyed most of the set, and Blair and Burstyn suffered accidental long-term back injuries. Production took twice as long as scheduled and cost almost 3 times the initial budget. Some deaths and accidents during production have led to the belief that it was cursed. Audiences flocked to it despite mixed reviews, waiting in long lines during winter weather, many more than once. Some viewers suffered adverse physical reactions, fainting or vomiting to scenes. Heart attacks and a miscarriage were reported among viewers. Several cities attempted to ban it outright or prevent children from entering. The cultural conversation around the film, which also encompassed its treatment of Catholicism, helped it become the first horror film to be nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture, one of 10 for which it was nominated, and winning for Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Sound. It has had several sequels. The Exorcist has had a significant influence on popular culture and has received critical acclaim. The several publications regarding it as one of the greatest horror films ever made. In 2010, the Library of Congress selected the film to be preserved in its National Film Registry, citing it as culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. If you read the novel, The Exorcist, you know that it starts out a bit slower. However, it does give you more detailed information regarding the land the house stands on. There was an occult group that occupied a building adjacent to the home and carried out dark invocations, so when Regan McNeil, the young girl who was ultimately possessed, played around with the Ouija board, the entity so-called Mr. Howdy was one of the many spirits that were lurking in the area because of all of these conjuring practices nearby. Other than that, the movie sticks very close to the novel. The Exorcist book is based on a true story on the experience of Roland Doe. In March of 1949, newspapers reported that a 14-year-old boy known as Robbie, or Roland Doe, was possessed by something sinister, and that the exorcist priests perform an exorcism on him. The boy, raised in a German Lutheran family, was no stranger to the paranormal things in life. After asking for a Ouija board for his birthday, his Aunt Harriet gifted him one. After she passed, the boy began to experience creepy and abnormal things around the house. Rattlings on the wall, strange noises, and flying objects. The Exorcist recreates many of these events to great effect. Roland's family contacted every expert, all leading to a dead end. After getting no answers, the family finally received help from Father E. Albert Hughes, the family's local Catholic priest, and an exorcism was performed in February of 1949. The exorcism that inspired the movie The Exorcist had to be stopped early because Roland ripped off a piece of mattress spring and threw it at the priest. A few days later, Roland started getting red scratches with the mark spelling out the word Louis. This alerted the family to go to St. Louis University, where he was introduced to Father Walter H. Halloran and Reverend William Bowden, who perform an exorcism on Roland. After the series of exorcisms that Roland went through as a child, he actually had an incredible successful career as an adult, working for NASA, and helped patent the technology to make space shuttle panels resistant to extreme heat for the Apollo missions of the 1960s. Not many people knew about his secret identity, except for a few close friends, academics, as well as the Jesuits who knew the priest who performed the exorcism. According to his partner, Roland, and his last name was Hunkler, was always very worried that his co-workers would find out and would even leave his home every Halloween. He was terrified that someone would harass him. Roland retired from NASA in 2001 after a 40-year career with them and lived a very quiet life. The Exorcist is without a doubt one of my truly ultimate favorites, if not the favorite horror film. The reason is because it was based on a true story. Roland Doe, or Roland Hunkler, is a real person. I don't go for the Michael Myers or the Jason Voorhees slasher porn type of horror. Porn because the only plot line that is there is to get to the action of slashing. To me, that's boring. I like real horror, based on real events, or events that are told as if it could happen. I, for one, believe in ghosts, demons, and the like. Do you? So, what do you think of the original Exorcist movie? Was it terrifying for you? Leave your comments below and make sure to like and subscribe if you are interested in diving more deeply into your favorite movies or movies that should be your favorite. Thanks so much for watching. Peace, two fingers.